Welcome back to Nonsense Farm. Today I just wanted to make a video about just basic hive inspection. And so I thought a good way to do that would be to have a friend come who has never been in a beehive before. And so that way she could ask her questions and whatnot. This is my friend Vanessa.
Hey everybody.
So how likely did you think it would ever be that you would ever come bee and bees?
Never, ever, ever did it even cross my mind that I would do this. Obviously, I know you do it. I know lots of people do it, but I never thought that I would ever be in a bee suit. But I'm really excited to be in a bee suit and to see how this all works.
So just a couple of safety tips. One, if something happens and like I'm looking at all your zippers, like you are sealed up safe, and it just never happens. But if something, like you get nervous, if anything happens that you get nervous about, then just walk that way, just walk away.
Okay.
And bees don't tend to follow you into like shady places. So like go inside the bee barn or in under those trees or whatever. They tend, for what, I don't know why, but they do. So there's that. As we were driving over here, I have a swarm trap hanging over there. And Vanessa was asking about what I meant by a swarm. So how bee colonies reproduce themselves is a phenomenon called a swarm. So what happens as a colony starts to run out of room, they will raise up another queen, and then the original queen and over half the bee population will depart the hive and go to a new home. And so prior to them departing the hive, some scout bees will go look around for a new place for them to move into. One popular place is, you know the water meter cover out in front of your house?
Yep.
And it has the little hole for your fingers to go in to lift the cover out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bees love those things.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So if you really would rather not have a bee swarm, what I would do, at least in the springtime, because that's swarm season, is cover up that hole with a piece of tape.
Okay. Note to self.
Or leave it open, and all the swarms you get, call me, because water meter swarms are so great because they're right there, they're not high up, you can just get them. So anyway, I have a swarm trap over there, and we saw one single bee kind of flying in and out. So is that a swarm? Is that a scout bee? I don't know. I don't think there's a swarm in there, because there would be, you see how there's lots of bees going around us, and in a normal hive there's a number of bees flying in and out. It would be more like that if there was an actual colony living in there.
Okay.
So, all right, well, let's dive in.
But you might have one soon if you have a scout.
Could be. So originally I was like, okay, we're just gonna go through one hive, and then I was like, well, we need to go through both of these for a reason I'll explain in a minute. And then as I'm here, I'm like, well, but we need to go through this one too. So anyway, let's just hop in and see what happens.
Okay, I noticed different styles. What I recognize is a traditional wooden kind of drawer sides. You've got some plastic ones over here. What are the advantages and disadvantages of the different types?
Yeah, so you know, these are just Langstroth hives. That's the wooden ones that you're used to. And that's the ones you see used most widely. That's what I recommend for like a beginner beekeeper, because when you buy a nuke, that's the type of hive that it can easily move into without having to worry about transition frame sizes or anything.
What is a nuke, Kathy?
All right, nucleus colony. Let's see, do I have any other nukes? We haven't, nope, that's not it. Nucleus colony. It's a small colony that you do a split. This is a 7-frame nucleus colony. It's kind of like a junior beehive, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this plastic ones here are the Apimae. It's a brand name, and the advantages to that are many. There's lots of features to Apimae hives. They'll never rot. They, you know, there's a million. They, like, for instance, this is an Apimae bottom board. In fact, I should open that up. And it comes with the inference reducer. It just comes with everything that you have to buy extra when you're doing traditional Langstroth hives. Yeah. All right.
They don't rot. They don't have to be repainted to look good.
Exactly. This is just a traditional hive tool. Everything inside of a beehive is sticky, and so you need a hive tool to pry it apart.
Imagine that,
Yeah.
sticky in a beehive.
Yeah, and it's not only the honey that's sticky, it's also propolis. This right here, you see this sticky substance? Besides the fact that there's bee carcasses in there. That's propolis, which is a resin that the bees gather from trees and plants. And it's antibacterial, antifungal, all sorts of health properties to propolis. Hello, ladies.
Well, hello there.
Yeah. So pretty much the bees that we see on the inside of this lid, these are all just female worker bees. There's 3 different types of bees that you'll find inside of a box of bees.
Oh, myth busted.
What?
I thought that the only female was the queen and that the
Nope.
worker bees were all male.
No, as a matter of fact, and you're gonna love this. So these are all just female worker bees. The only boys are what's called drones.
Yep, I'm familiar with that term.
Yeah, so those are the only boys. Their only purpose,
To take care of the queen?
nope, not
No.
even that.
Okay.
Not even that.
Another myth busted.
Yep. The only thing the drone does is there are these things called drone congregation areas, and they're just everywhere. I don't know where there is one around here, but there are. And it's where drone bees, boy bees, fly around and they wait for a queen bee, a virgin queen, to come out on her mating flight one time in her entire life. She's born, she goes out on her mating flight, and she comes back and she lays baby bees the rest of her life. So on that mating flight, it's kind of like insect rumspringa. She mates with, I don't even know, I'd have to look it up, lots and lots of drones. And all of that mating, it fills up an organ in her body called a spermatheca. And for the whole of her multi-year life, when she can lay up to 3,000 eggs per day,
They're fertilized from this reservoir.
from that one trip.
Wow.
Yeah, and so the boy bees' only function is to go out and fertilize queen bees, and after they fertilize a queen bee, they die. So that's all they do. That's all they do is have sex and die. They don't gather resources for the hive. They don't clean the hive. They don't take care of anybody. All they do is have sex and die.
Okie dokie now.
Yeah. So the other thing is, I have some good stuff I'm going to show you here. The other thing is, in the fall, as the resources in the area start to dwindle, and they, like after the summer solstice, when the bees start to cycle down, you'll see dead bees out in front of beehives.
And by resources, you're referring to
Flower,
the pollen and the
nectar.
plants, the flowers.
Yep.
As they all die back.
Yes, and
Okay.
as the world starts to go dormant, you'll see like piles of dead bees out in front of hives. And what that is as the fall progresses, they kill the drone bees and drag them out of the hive because they are nothing but a drain on hive resources. I'm going to show this to our friends, and then I'll show
I have
you
to
what
tell you, Kathy, it is very surreal to be standing here with this many bees
swimming all around you. Yeah.
Yes. And they're on, like they're all over your camera.
Yeah, they hate the Bluetooth signal.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
never, ever did I imagine myself in this position, but it's pretty darn cool.
But here you are. Okay, when you look straight down into these, do you see what looks like little worms? Adjust it if you need to. In fact,
Yes, I do.
Those are baby bees.
Oh,
So the queen, in fact, come over here where the sun's behind you. So look where the sun goes right down into the cells.
mm-hmm.
You see how some of them, like over here, it looks really milky.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So those were laid just, a couple, 3 days ago. And that milkiness, that is royal jelly. The nurse bees, look at all those. So that is a whole frame of it's baby bees. The nurse bees feed the baby bees with royal jelly. And then after they are in that cell for like a week, they cap. And I'll show you that because I think I see some cap cells on the next one. Yeah. So you see that? Oops, sorry. That is capped brood. So see, here's younger brood. Once it's about a week old, then they'll cap it, and then the bee continues to mature under there, and then at a certain point when it's ready to be born, let's see, oh yeah, look, that's whole baby bees again.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm curious. So I see the milkies in the open cells, but I'm also seeing orange and yellow. What is that?
So actually what you're seeing over here is more shiny. That's nectar.
Right.
Yeah. The color is pollen.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then milkiness here is where they fed the babies. And over here, it's kind of, isn't that just beautiful? You've got all the different colors and then baby, it's just amazing.
It is very beautiful. I mean, it looks like a work of art.
And it is. I mean, it's a work of art by our creator. It's pretty.
I was thinking that when you opened it up and you were first telling me about the, the female workers and the drones, and I was just thinking, it's amazing to me that this one little part of our world had so much thought and planning and purpose at such an intricate, minute level by our creator. It's just amazing to see this up close.
All right, here, you'll have to really, some people have to use a magnifying glass. But I don't know if you can see, it's right in here. And you can feel free to manipulate the frame to where the light is going right down into the frame. But it looks like the teeny tiniest grain of rice in the bottom of those cells.
So my vision is really bad. I might be one of those people that would need a magnifying glass.
Or, do you have your phone?
I do.
All right, take a picture of it, and then you'll be able to blow it up and see it. So this frame, you can see it's completely all sparkly. That's all nectar.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, look at that. When it gets below 18% moisture, then they will cap it. That's what this is. So this is nectar, but under this is honey. When we go into a hive on a typical day, what we're normally wanting to look for is there a laying queen? Does she have room to lay? And do the bees have food? And already the answer on this hive is a resounding yes on all counts.
Because there's all those open little cells that aren't milky yet, so she can lay in all of those.
And like this, they're just drawing out. These, they're just finishing. So, and plus, since they're getting all agitated at us, we're going to go ahead and close these guys back up. The reason I wanted to get into these hives is because this box and that box, the lower box of that next one, they used to be one hive.
Okay.
And their queen went belly up. And they were a great hive. There were a ton of bees. And they had already rejected one bought queen. When you go to buy a queen bee, they're like $40. They're very expensive. And they had already rejected one, and you don't want to do that too often because it gets kind of expensive. But anyway, but I had 2 nucleus colonies that had laying queens. And so what I did was I combined the nucleus colonies. I divided them, half on one, half on the other, and combined them with the nucleus colony. So I want to check and see how they're doing. This one obviously doing great. So now let's see how the other half of Casablanca is doing. This is foundation. This is what it looks like when we put it in the hive.
Oh, wow. It's so shallow compared to...
Yeah, the bees build that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So this is actually triple waxed from Premier. And then we actually paint fresh wax on it before we put it. Okay, do you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
That's a drone bee.
Okay. He's just meandering around.
Yeah, like he doesn't have a cause of care in the world. Anyway, so if you just put plain foundation in with no wax on it, the bees do all sorts of wonky stuff on it.
Okay, what is this structure here?
This is, they've started building out. So,
okay.
Yeah. Started building out.
So across, will it be that tall? I didn't realize that when we looked before.
Well, here, you pick up that one, and I'll pick up this one, and you can compare. Oh, so I mean, look at that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So look here, on this side, all of this is honey except for that one little patch. You see this patch right here that's babies? And same over here. It's almost all nectar, and what we have here is just a little bit of babies. So there's a phenomenon that can happen called getting honey bound or nectar bound, where the bees are bringing in so much nectar, or you're feeding them so much that the bees are just storing every little drop and they aren't leaving anywhere for the queen to lay. And you don't want that to happen because the queen needs to lay eggs or she might shut down.
What do you do if that is happening?
Well, there's a few things you can do. For one thing, they can finish drawing this out and make room. So there's room for them to remedy the situation on their own. Another thing is, if it was all like capped honey, you could take a frame out and extract it and put it back.
Okay.
You could also, let's say if there was another colony that had some just drawn comb, you could take the frame of honey out, give it to them, and give these guys the drawn comb. Yeah, see, look at that. It's just nectar, nectar, nectar.
So in the one where there are a few capped cells with baby bees, when those hatch, will they then be able to store nectar?
If they choose to, yeah.
If they choose to.
Man, these guys are just making the honey, man. Okay, so here's another thing to show you. Okay, you see how these look like corn pops compared to how the other capped babies looked before? These are drone cells.
Oh.
It'll be boy bees that are born out of those. So the other kind, which find some more here in a minute maybe. See how well they're drawing that out? They're drawing it out and they're already sticking nectar in it. So just because I'm curious, I'm gonna take this box off and I'm gonna look down here because I didn't see very many babies up here. If this were a single story hive, I would go, she might be getting, running out of places. She's not laying very much. But there's a whole thing down here, so I'm gonna look down here and see.
Is this their entrance into the lower box?
No, actually, I'm glad you asked. That is a feeder. When sometimes during the fall or the winter, you need to feed them syrup. And so I just leave the feeders in here all the time so that I'm not having to go, oh, does Evan have a feeder? Do I put it in, take it out? I just always leave a feeder in so I can fill it up whenever they need it. I learned that. I went out last spring on a trip where I worked for a day with commercial beekeepers in the almond pollination in California. And that's what professional guys do.
Okay, just leave it there.
Yeah, all right.
That looks like that's like 2 frames.
Yes, it is a 2-frame feeder, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go like this. So a full, deep frame of honey like that can weigh 8 to 10 pounds, and a full like this has 10 frames in it. So do the math and see how heavy a whole frame, if it were all honey, could be. It gets heavy fast. Now that was not nearly that heavy.
Again, it is so surreal to just be standing here. They are loud.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks like the remnants of newspaper.
It is. And why that's there is when we did the combine with the other colony that had a laying queen, how you combine colonies like that is you put a layer or two of newspaper between them. The bees eat through it, and while the time elapses that they do that, they get used to each other's pheromones. Otherwise, if you just paired 2 colonies together, they would kill each other.
Attack, yeah.
Yeah. You see all that pollen? Isn't that pretty?
It is very pretty.
I just think pollen is so pretty.
And I, of course, am immediately wondering, like, what plant or tree did the bright orange come from?
There are charts that
dull
say,
yellow come from.
Yeah, there are charts that say this color comes from this and that color comes from that. Lots of pollen there. I would really like to see more babies over here. I mean, clearly the population of this colony is fine. When the comb is old and black like this, it gets harder to see the eggs. When it's brand new, freshly drawn comb that they lay eggs in, and it's easier to see.
Okay, what went on there? That's the first I've seen a hole.
So this frame was a result of a swarm that we went and got out of an owl house. And so they had already built comb. And so what we did was we scraped it out and we rubber banded it into this. And then the bees connected over time. And anyway, that's just a little part they haven't built yet.
And did you say owl house?
Yes, bees love an owl house. And they're, 20 feet up in a tree, so that's always lots of fun.
Other than the owl in the 100-acre woods, I didn't know they had houses.
Yeah, people put them in their yard to attract owls. I'm trying to find a queen to show you. I've not found one yet. When you do a hive inspection, one of the things you're wanting to make sure of is that there is a laying queen, but you don't necessarily have to see the queen in order to know that she's there.
Just seeing
evidence of
eggs and milky cat. Yeah.
Which
not seeing a lot in here.
I like the other one better than this one, so we'll keep an eye on this one. I do see some, so we'll continue to watch.
Is the queen very visually obvious appearance?
Yes. Maybe we'll see one. We're only going to do one more hive. Maybe we'll see one. We'll see. Vanessa asked, what is a honey super? So super, of course, means above. And so these boxes are above the brood boxes, and they are intended for the bees to put honey in.
Okay.
So these two are boxes where everything that's in there, all the food, everything, it stays for them. Do you see this metal thing right here?
I do.
It's a queen excluder. And what it is a metal grid that the holes are big enough for the bees, the worker bees, to get in and out, but the queen bee cannot get up there.
So she can't lay eggs
she can't
up there,
lay,
and
exactly.
you don't have a colony living up there.
Right. So let's get in here and see. This is what beekeepers live their entire year for. Look at that. They're like, what are you doing? Get away from my honey. Yeah, if you ever wanted to see some mad bees, come here on the day we come and collect all the honey.
I'd love to. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, and you're welcome to come, but that is the day the bees, because, by the time we collect it, it's starting to be what's called the dearth, where there aren't great resources around.
So yeah, you're taking their sustenance.
Yeah.
It's amazing they're smart enough to know that.
They're so smart. Okay, so look at this.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Look at that.
This,
okay, I put the camera away, but I have to get pictures.
you have to get it back out.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's what honey looks like when it's fresh in the hive.
Tell me what this is that we're looking at, Kathy.
Yeah, so this is capped honey. That's honey ready to extract and put on your toast. And then the glistening stuff, that's nectar that they're still drying out. And when it's ready, they will cap that.
Wow, can't wait. And that will be, did you say August?
July, August. Yeah.
Well, I've been wanting to try Nonsense Farm honey. I'm now really invested in Nonsense Farm honey.
So you can see here's a frame. There's only a little bit. I don't even see any glistening, but over there is.
Oh yeah, capped off. Wow, look at that.
I'm going to, and look at this one. This one's all capped. Ugh. Feel how heavy it is. Pick that up with your hands.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, wow.
I try not to disturb the honey producers too much during the honey season because I want them to pay attention to what they're doing. So on this one, you can see we have 2 honey supers. So that one is probably full of honey also. So the trick is we want to come in and take the honey. We want to take advantage of as much of the nectar flow as possible. But also, we don't want to go too far into the dirt because we don't want them to start eating the honey. So there we go.
Makes sense.
We leave them all the honey down here, but we take all the honey up. All right, let's go get cooled off. bye.